This is an additional video for those who want to learn more about Mr. Raghu Rai and his life and work. To see and know about his vast body of work, please go to the various online links that have been shared with you in the recommended online resources for this lesson. As Norman Hall, the picture editor for the Photography Annual, the British Journal of Photography Annual, and the Times, wrote once in an introduction, and I quote, "Mr. Raghu Rai has a unique way of seeing things and photographing them on bromide paper." Norman Hall held Raghu Rai in the same esteem as Henri Cartier-Bresson. Mr. Raghu Rai shares with us some stories behind the various national and international awards he has got in his lifetime. He also shares the experience of working on a cover story for the National Geographic magazine. He believes that he is an explorer and a child of nature. Let's listen to him. It's very interesting that what you're saying, that you have never been externally motivated, that I need to do this to reach somewhere or to get something in my life, which is usually the condition of human life today, that we all are running to be somewhere or achieve something. Yeah. Now in such a case, though you are not running for anything, but things have come to you. For example, one of the highest honors and awards that can be a civilian award that can be given to a citizen of the country is the Padma Shri, which was given to you in 1972, I think based on your work of the Bangladeshi refugees. But when you were doing it, what was the process, and did you ever think that this would get you an award?
No, you see, my exhibition of 50 photographs, 30 photographs of India and 20 of the Bangladesh refugees, they sent me to world capitals all over. इधर से मैं यूरोप गया, यूरोप के कई सारे कंट्रीज में होते हुए, और फिर अमेरिका होते हुए, फिर जापान, फिर हांगकांग, फिर वहाँ से मैं वापस लौटा। तो मुझे जहाँ जहाँ मैंने एग्जीबिशंस की, मुझे फुल पेज, हाफ पेज कवरेजेस, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स हो, वाशिंगटन पोस्ट हो, फिगारो हो, लिमांड हो, एवरीवेयर, डिजाइट, ये सब जगह बड़े बड़े वो मिले। तो जब मैं वापस लौटा तो मुझे होम सेक्रेटरी का फ़ोन आया कि रघु जी, आपकी एग्जीबिशन तो बड़ी सक्सेसफुल रही, तो आइए थोड़ी देर बात करें। तो मैं मिलने गया, मिस्टर नारायण होते थे, मिस्टर नारायण। तो मैं मिला, उन्होंने कहा कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन, वी आर सो हैप्पी विद योर एग्जीबिशन। सो बिफोर आई कुड से एनीथिंग, ही सेज, वी लाइक टू propose your name for Padma Shri. मैंने कहा अच्छा, क्योंकि suddenly तो कहते नहीं, you done so well, क्योंकि देखिए भारत सरकार की कोई सुनता नहीं था कि हम प्रोपेगेंडा कर रहे हैं। जब मेरी तस्वीरें गईं तो लोगों ने, बड़े बड़े न्यूज़पेपर्स ने इतना कुछ छापा, तो it was for the first time a photographer was given a Padma Shri. तो that was part of the whole thing. वो कुछ दिन तो एक्साइटमेंट रही, उसके बाद ठीक है, वन मूव्स ऑन। तो इस तरह से ज़िंदगी तो चलती रहती है। मैग्नम ने कहा कि आप ज्वाइन कर लो। उससे पहले जो कहानी है, मैंने आपको बताया था कि टाइम्स न्यूज़पेपर ने मेरी तस्वीरें छापी शुरू में। तो मैं 1968 में, 4 साल हुए थे मुझे फोटोग्राफी में, मैं थॉमसन फेलोशिप पे इंग्लैंड गया। तो वहाँ पे मैं जो पिक्चर एडिटर नॉर्मन हॉल थे टाइम्स के, मैं उनको जाके मिला कि यू बीन सो नाइस टू मी, और ये वो कहते नो 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 रघु, नाउ दैट यू आर हियर यू विल वर्क विद अस। आई सेड हाउ? ही सेज every week we'll give you 3 half pages. You choose any subject, sometimes I'll also suggest, and you shoot pictures and we'll give you half page every time you take pictures. So I'll go and shoot street scene, or I'll go shoot a flower show or some demonstration. He'll give me half a page with my name on it. तो इस तरह से वो भी हुआ। तो जब मैं वापस आ गया तो 70 में मैंने पहली एग्जीबिशन करनी चाहिए दिल्ली में, 1970 में। तो नॉर्मन हॉल was also editor of photography magazine, He was also editor of British Journal of Photography Annual at different times, and then he became the photo editor with the Times. So मैंने सोचा यार कि इनसे पूछें तो सही कि I wrote to him that I am going to be doing this exhibition, so will it be possible for you to write a small introduction? So वो हाँ या ना तो क्या करनी थी, उन्होंने एक पेज इंट्रोडक्शन का लिख के भेजा. And you know, I quote him, कि Raghu Rai has a unique way of seeing things and photographing them on a bromide paper. I appraise his work with the same respect that I have for Edward Buba or Henri Cartier-Bresson. And I feel why should the young Raghu Rai should become the greatest of them all. तो मैंने पढ़ा, मैंने कहा मार दिया यार, क्या लिख दिया यार. I was so disheartened कि यार ऐसे कैसे लिख सकता है. तो then I showed it to my brother. He says, Raghu, अगर उसने लिखा है तो छाप दो ना. You see, the difference is, जो मैंने पहले भी आपको बताया है कि मेरे लिए वो लोग उनकी एनर्जी, उनकी प्रेजेंस बड़ी लाजवाब थी. And in no way I thought myself to be anywhere close to them. And I was bored with it, but finally I published it. कि भाई उन्होंने कहा है तो ठीक है भाई कहा है. This is how I have worked.
आपका जब उसके बारे में बताएंगे, जब you met Bresson and then you became a part of Magnum, would you share the experience with us?
मेरी एग्जीबिशन पेरिस में हुई थी 71-72 में. तब बांग्लादेश रेफ्यूजीज इंडिया में आ रहे थे, तो भारत सरकार जो थी बड़ी कोशिश करती थी कि दुनिया को बताने के लिए 10 million refugees have come into India. और पाकिस्तान का प्रोपेगेंडा बहुत अच्छा था. So most countries they didn't believe India. So they asked me, I was shooting for a Statesman newspaper. हम तो कलकत्ता जाते थे, फिर वहाँ से हम अंदर बॉर्डर्स पे चले जाते थे, फोटोग्राफ करके लाते थे. तो काफ़ी अच्छी इंटेंस फोटोग्राफ्स मुझे मिलती रही. तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप ऐसा करेंगे. मैंने कहा मैं ऐसा तो नहीं करूँ, लेकिन थोड़ा अलग से कर सकते हैं कि I can have an exhibition of 50 photographs. 30 will be my India that I love. Within that India we have 10 million refugees who come into India, part of the show. मैं प्रोपेगेंडा तो करने नहीं जाऊँगा. तो फिर वो एग्जीबिशन 50 पिक्चर्स की मैं लेके गया. तो जब मैं पेरिस में शो था तो गैलरी डेलपियर में, डेलपियर passed away recently. He was world's most important photography curator, art director, और वो ब्रेसों का दोस्त भी था. तो 5 बजे एग्जीबिशन खुलनी थी, तो 4:45 बजे मैंने देखा एक आदमी कोई लाइका उठाए हुए और एक एक तस्वीर बड़े ध्यान से देख रहा है. मैंने थोड़ा ऑब्जर्व किया तो मैंने कहा ये ब्रेसों होंगे. तो मैं पास जाके खड़ा हो गया. तो when he saw me standing there, he says, "You are the photographer." I said, "Yes." He said, "Very nice. Let me see. I'll talk to you." तो उसके बाद उन्होंने मुझे घर बुलाया खाने पे. मार्टिन फ्रैंक उसकी भी बड़ी अच्छी फोटोग्राफर थी. He was so amazing कि कभी किसी फोटोग्राफर को, कभी किसी को, लाइक ब्रूनो बारबी और जो वहाँ पे बाकी फोटोग्राफर्स थे उनको भेजते थे कि भाई रघु राय को लंच पे ले जाओ, लुक आफ्टर हिम. ऐसा इंसान. तो जब मैं वापस चला गया तो मुझे मैग्नम से टेलेक्स आया कि ब्रेसो हैज प्रपोज योर नेम, सो वुड यू लाइक टू जॉइन अस. तब मैं स्टेट्समैन में था. मन को मर गए. मैंने कहा मैं तो नहीं ज्वाइन करूँगा. आज लोग पागलों की तरह कोशिश करते हैं मैग्नम में होने की, और हालांकि वो मैग्नम भी नहीं रहा. हर कुछ डाइल्यूट हो गया. तो मैंने तो जवाब ही नहीं दिया. 72 में आई, मैंने जवाब ही नहीं दिया. मैंने कहा बाप रे, मैं तो ब्रेसों के साथ नहीं बैठ सकता हूँ, बिकॉज ब्रेसो इज ब्रेसो. देखिए ये होती है डिग्निटी और बड़ों की इज्जत, जो आजकल के बच्चों में नहीं है. तो 77 में मैंने सोचा यार कि न्यूज़पेपर के साथ मैंने बहुत काम कर लिया. क्योंकि डेली न्यूज़पेपर में डेली स्टोरीज डाई अ डेली डेथ, एंड आई डिडंट वांट माय पिक्चर्स to have that fragility and that kind of life. इस पे मैं दूसरा पॉइंट भी फिर डिस्कस करूंगा. तो मैंने सोचा मैं न्यूज़पेपर छोड़ता हूँ. मैं न्यूज़पेपर छोड़ रहा था तो देन आई वाज वाइंडिंग अप, द सेम टेलेक्स केम अप अगेन फ्रॉम जिमी फॉक्स ऑफ मैग्नम फोटो इनवाइटिंग मी टू जॉइन मैग्नम. तो मैंने सोचा यार 5 साल हो गए, मैं कुछ तो बड़ा हुआ हूँगा. तो मैंने चिट्ठी लिख दी. मैंने कहा इज दिस ऑफर स्टिल ओपन, एंड दे सेड यस, दिस इज हाउ आई जॉइंड. और जब मेरा पेरिस में शो भी था तो ला फिगारो और ले मोंड जो टॉप न्यूज़पेपर, उन्होंने लिखा ग्रेट टाइम्स फॉर फोटोग्राफी इन पेरिस बिकॉज डेविड बेली एंड रघु राय आर शोइंग हियर. तो मैंने सोचा कि हे भगवान यार, डेविड बेली तो है यार, मुझे कहाँ बीच में फंसा. सी, और आजकल के फोटोग्राफर वो सोचते हैं अरे हम तो सबसे बड़े हो गए. हम में ये कभी नहीं रहा था कि हम बड़े हो गए. मैं तो आई वॉज बोर्ड कि यार ये क्या कर देते हैं यार, कि मुझे उसके साथ मिला दिया, मुझे ब्रेसों के साथ बिठाना चाहते हैं. वी हैड रेफरेंस, यू नो व्हाई? बिकॉज नॉट दैट आई वाज स्मॉल बॉय, बिकॉज आई कुड फील द पावर ऑफ देयर एनर्जी, क्रिएटिव एनर्जी. द स्पिरिट ऑफ इट वॉज सो मैग्निफिसेंट फॉर मी that we respected that, and not that I had complex. और मैं काम करता रहा. मैंने कभी वेस्ट के लिए या किसी के लिए जाके अपने काम दिखा के और अपने आप को ले जाने की कोशिश नहीं की, क्योंकि मेरा ये मानना था कि यार ये स्पिरिट, ये एनर्जी, जो क्रिएटिव एनर्जी, कोई रोक नहीं सकता. तो जब मैं इतना लाजवाब करूँगा तो कौन मुझे रोकेगा, काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग. तो हम ऐसे काम करते थे. तो एम्बिशन होना, दर्शन पाने का इज समथिंग, पर एम्बिशन होना उनके बराबर से, उनसे बढ़ जाने का इज नो एम्बिशन फॉर मी. तो ये सारी बातें जो हैं जिंदगी में, ये आपको जब डिविडेंड्स उसके, जब उसका रिवॉर्ड मिलता है, तब आपको समझ में आती है कि कितनी कीमती बातें हैं ये सारी. और क्रिएटिविटी में ये तो बहुत बड़ा चार्ज है जो आपको, मैं वही बता रहा हूँ कि 55 साल हो गए, लेकिन आज भी मेरी जो वो है ना मैडनेस, फायर जो है, इट्स बियॉन्ड मी.
Beautiful. That spark is what is needed. Like it is actually eternal in this human form. Till we are, it will be there. It will express.
Yeah.
It must express.
सोचते हमने ये काम कर दिया, हमने वो काम कर दिया. अरे आपने जितना किया, जितना देखा, जितने दर्शन पाए, तब आपको समझ में आती है अरे विशालता कितनी है ब्रह्मांड की. इससे भी आगे, और तुम बुद्धू बड़े हो इससे. और जो मैं डिवाइन एनर्जी की बात करता हूँ, मैं मदर को, जो मैंने when I did my third book on mother, I called it the Saint Mother. So my publisher said, Raghu bhai, abhi to usko sainthood mila nahi hai. This is before Vatican recognized him. So I said, mila nahi hai is not the question. I have experienced that spiritual energy and sainthood in her, and I am going to call this book The Saint Mother. But it's a different matter that Vaticans took another 10 years to give her sainthood. तो उस माँ की एनर्जी, और ज़रूर मुझे ब्लेसिंग्स भी दी होंगी. हिज होलीनेस दलाई लामा, मैंने तिब्बतन्स पे बुक की, फिर अभी मैंने उन पे बुक की है. ईच टाइम आई मीट हिम, he gives me hugs. He extends his hand, I kiss his hand, he pulls me in, my head goes on his shoulder, his head comes on my shoulder. Now, when my head goes on his shoulder, मैं तो पागल आदमी, so I begin to kiss his shoulder, plant kisses on his shoulder. The other day I was telling my wife, I don't know whether I am giving him love or polluting his shoulder.
In 1992, you did a story which came to be the cover story of the National Geographic magazine, and for which you were also given the Photographer of the Year award in the United States of America. It was related to environment, so would you tell us about that story?
Yeah, it was based on wildlife, human management of wildlife in India. It was initially very tough for me because human management of wildlife, if you say wildlife, your focus is there on the animals and birds. But if you say human management, it becomes slightly different approach and understanding. But in many situations, I spent 4 days, 5 days, I get nothing. And when 3 months were over, I wrote to them, I said, maybe if I want to have an appointment with the Prime Minister through their advisor, I can get an appointment. But with the tiger, I haven't managed to get any appointment. So they gave me another 4 weeks or something like that. And then, things will come your way. Wildlife is one kind of photography where you have to be patient and invest so much time waiting and waiting and waiting. And patient I am not. I am a restless soul. I want things to be happening and bubbling right now for me. But still, when I took up the assignment, and it was also important for me as a professional to do it well. So I learned to be patient and invested a lot of time. फिर दर्शन हुए कहीं कहीं और बात बनी. But it was not the regular kind of wildlife story that I could have easily done with a big telephoto and everything, So that was very different for me, very different experience. But then again, my approach was instinctive and human. Looking at the animals and their management was very human, very simple.
And now you yourself have received plenty of awards, and in 2019 you have got one of the awards, a very coveted award. So can you tell now, you 55 years in this journey and one more award, so how do you feel? And
No,
how
this
do you
is
let
not
it?
one more award. I was shooting in Srinagar in August, and I get a call from Paris that we are calling from Académie des Beaux-Arts, which means Academy of Fine Arts, and we are constituting the highest honor for photography. Earlier it used to be for literature and art. First time we'll be giving it to a photographer, and you are one of the 16 photographers. So will you accept it? So I thought to myself, I said 16 photographers, I haven't applied, and I don't go anywhere, I don't meet people. So I said yes. So then I was curious, I said, who are the other photographers? The name they gave me was Bruce Davidson, Elliot Erwitt, Magnum, more senior than me, whom we admired, James Nacho, the war photographer, and Sally Mann, Annie Leibovitz, so many other names, top names everywhere. तो मैंने सोचा यार कि ठीक है चलो 16 में तो नाम है हमारा. So they said, all right, it will take us 2 days to review 16 portfolios and we'll get back to you. I said, thank you very much. Now, I told you about Norman Hall writing about me, why shouldn't he become the greatest of them all? Then great times for photography in Paris because Raghu Rai and David Bailey are showing here. Then Bresso nominating me to Magnum Photos and me saying, ducking down, ki kya yaar. As I have already explained that I have never ever tried to be there or there or there. But then my intensity and my passion and my commitment has grown over the years and many folds. And I do so much photography today, and sometimes I feel in few hours I'm so intense that divine energy comes into play that part, and I think I am doing very good work. Then I am also the guy who's shy, who doesn't exhibit, doesn't do dramas with other people, doesn't meet anybody. So I used to think, are you firing in the dark? Huh? लगा गोली चलाने और सोचता वाह. And then when they called me, I said, yeah, not a bad idea. So they ring me up after 2 hours, 2.5 hours, saying that Mr. Rai, you won it. I said, how come? Then I thought to myself, you know, if they've asked me, will you accept it, means they are almost there with my name. But this I thought later. But when they said that you are one of the 16 photographers, I said, अरे यार, मैं तो नहीं मिलता किसी से, नहीं आता जाता. I stay here. India is my whole world, and I don't care. Then suddenly it occurred to me. I said, अरे यार, divine energy तो कुछ भी कर देती है, and then nobody can stop. So when they rang me up, okay, Joe, you won it because everybody clapped for you, and they said this man's work has many dimensions to it. If James Najwe is doing war photography, means it's he's moving only in that direction. Bruce Davidson is doing in that direction, and you have that kind of multi-directional understanding of the world. And this is for the first time, the first award comes to an Indian with 120,000 euros, so which is very good for a poor photographer. So what I'm saying is that eventually, अगर आपने इस तरह से काम किया है कि जहाँ पे आपने खेल नहीं खेले हैं, you don't want to reach this destination or that, but you are an explorer and a child of nature available to it, then the divine energy takes care, you know. So this has been the highest honor, first time any photographer getting it ever. And your blessings are very important, then things happen. And I have seen sometimes, you know, I'm taking pictures and suddenly I see something unbelievable, out of nothing. What is that? Unfolding as the divine magic, right in front of you.
There are no more words to explain about Mr. Raghu Rai, his life and work. Those of you who have watched the last and the fourth video about his life and work would know by now the depth and the passion of the person behind the photographer. We really hope that the interview with Mr. Raghu Rai has inspired you and made you think and reflect on things which usually one would not when one is learning photography or photojournalism. To end, we can remind ourselves once again that let us live in the present moment, here and now, as photographers and photojournalists when we record a moment through our cameras.